Here's part 3 of the male reproductive system, and we're going to actually slip backwards here just for a quick review of a couple of things here on page 1023 with this diagrammatic representation here of the male sexual organs. I wanted to re-emphasize the presence of the prostatic urethra, which actually is where urine is going to begin its pathway through the urethra and out. The sperm and semen will be traveling on that same pathway, only beginning with the ejaculatory duct here at the very beginning of the prostatic urethra. It will enter in there. At the time of ejaculation, there's going to be also, what's not represented here is the smooth muscle sphincter, which prevents the retrograde flow of semen. Semen will have to go forward then when the prostate contracts. This next stage here of the urethra is the membranous urethra, and that's a brief interval through the pelvic floor. And then finally, there is the continuation of the pathway called the spongy urethra, going through the cavernous spongiosum. Notice that the cavernous spongiosum is the smallest portion of the erectile tissue, and that most of the erectile tissue is actually the corpus cavernosum. As you can see here, they have little connective tissue chambers that are able to fill with blood. The glans penis is represented here by the corpus spongiosum, and there's the prepuce overlying that. So I wanted to pick up that little review and then also get into this on page 1024. What is the epididymis? And the idea here is that it's this place that the sperm travel to outside of the testis, right? So the sperm will be floating, a spermatozoa in their immature stage will be floating from the testis through the rete testis out into the epididymis. And they will spend some days out there, perhaps 20 days or so, undergoing maturation. It says here that the huge surface area has of the epididymis has stereocilia and allows for the absorption of excess testicular fluid, and also it passes nutrients to the sperm that are going through their developmental changes. The immature, nearly non-motile sperm, it says here, leaves the testis and moves slowly along the duct of the epididymis, and that takes about 20 days for that maturation. Along the way, they will eventually learn how to swim, which are important little instructions. It says here that the sperm are ejaculated from the epididymis, not the testis, an important detail of knowledge, and that sperm can be stored for several months in the epididymis. They will eventually be reabsorbed if not utilized in other ways. And then we get to the ductus deferens, which is this 18-inch or so duct that surrounds the, or that makes the passageway to the prostate gland. And then eventually we get to the urethra, prostatic urethra. The passageway for the sperm at the time of ejaculation is the prostatic urethra, the membranous urethra, and the spongy urethra. And then we press on to the glands that contribute to the formation of semen. Up until we arrive at the ejaculatory duct, there are mainly just sperm in their own fluids moving through the process how many sperm could be 100 million to 400 million, somewhere through there, but we'll get to that. The contribution of the seminal, I call them the seminal vesicles, a much more historical name. These contribute yellowish, viscous alkaline fluid, it says here, containing fructose for energy, citric acid, and coagulation enzymes, and prostaglandins to activate swimming, motility, that sort of thing. An important detail here is that there's a yellowish color of the seminal fluid is due to a yellow pigment that fluoresces under UV light, and this capability allows investigators to recognize sperm trails or residue in instances of sexual attack, and it's an important detail. The prostate is where the ejaculatory duct brings the sperm after the admission of seminal fluid, and at the time of ejaculation there's going to be an additional output here in which the prostate is producing a milky, it says here, slightly acidic fluid that contains citrate, another nutrient source, several enzymes including fibrinolysis, lysine, and a number of other items that regulate sperm flow. There's initially going to be a coagulation of the semen upon ejaculation, and then once the ejaculate has moved to the new location, then there's going to be fibrinolysis. There's going to be sort of a liquefying type of enzyme that overcomes the viscosity. There's this prostate-specific antigen, PSAs, a slightly overused tool. It's now being recognized, but nevertheless, a tool nonetheless in the Gleason ratings for determining whether somebody has a dangerous cancer or not. Prostate disorders mainly have to do with either enlargement of the prostate. Occasionally there's going to be infections of the prostate, but the main thing that people experience is enlargement, benign prostatic hyperplasia. The easiest solution, actually to date, is to insert a device that goes up through the opening of the penis and goes all the way back toward the bulb and into the prostatic urethra, and then there's a inflating balloon that sort of stretches out that area so that the urine can pass easily. This is a purely mechanical and considerably less, how shall I say, damaging procedure than to actually remove any part of the prostate, although many people are selecting surgical means rather than this more simple mechanical means for fixing the problem. Prostatic cancer is something that happens as we age. Cancer in general becomes more prevalent with age because the immune system and T-cell functions are declining with organ and tissue decline with aging. There is the belief that males over the age of 80 probably all have prostatic cancer of some kind or another, but it's very unlikely that very many of them will die of that cancer. So I will leave that to the clinicians rather than try to make further commentary here. Okay, so the bulbourethral glands here depicted on page 1026, or at least the text is depicted as representing stage 1 of 3 stages of the sexual cycle, and represents that parasympathetic period of arousal. And basically this is a fluid that sort of cleans the pathway in advance of the ejaculation. Okay, and then the next thing that's described here is semen, and we'll get into that in our next section.